Today's video is going to be part 2 of the anxiety series that I started. If you haven't seen the first video, I'm going to go ahead and link that for you guys somewhere on this video. Today's is going to be about intrusive thoughts, and I'm looking at my handy dandy notes as usual. I am going to go ahead though and start with the disclaimer. In this video, I am going to be talking about suicidal ideations. So if that is not something that you want to hear anyone talk about, or if that's something that's going to trigger you, please do not watch this video. I had a hard time even saying that. So yeah, I would understand if you do not want to watch this video. Please go watch another one. I have plenty of other videos that you can watch. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get started with what intrusive thoughts are. So basically, intrusive thoughts are unwanted thoughts. They usually come at whatever time it's unexpected, and it's usually something that you yourself wouldn't think on a regular basis. A lot of times for me, it feels like it's not my own thought, if that makes sense, even though obviously I'm hearing it in my own mind. It is my thought, but it's not something that I want to think, if that makes sense. A lot of times they're very repetitive and they can be very disturbing, which is why I went ahead and put the disclaimer on the video. So I'm going to talk about my experience with intrusive thoughts, just kind of like what kind of thoughts I've had, when it started for me, how often it happens, things like that. So I don't remember exactly when the intrusive thoughts started for me, but I do know that it became a lot more frequent during the time that I was working at my most recent retail job, which was Target. I started working there in 2018, towards the end of the year. Well, maybe halfway through the year. I think August was when I started there, 2018. And you know, everybody that has worked retail ever before knows how stressful retail is. And so it was just like, I already was stressful, already didn't want to be working retail, had been telling myself for the last 2 years before that that I was not going to be working retail anymore ever again, and clearly that was a lie. But you know, I was stressed, of course depressed, my anxiety was on 10 at all times. You know, the workload was just a lot, but I was one of those people that I was like, I have to prove myself. I have to work my butt off so that I can get a promotion, so I can make more money. Like, not get a promotion because I wanted one. I just wanted to make more money. So I was like, if I be a yes man, then they'll promote me. Didn't happen. So, you know, all of that was going on. My grandfather on my dad's side had died earlier that year, so I was still dealing with that, because I hadn't really dealt with my feelings about that at that point. And I just was, you know, there was a lot going on. I had just recently moved and didn't really have the time off that I needed to be able to move. I just was like, work, move, work, move, work, move, you know? So it was just like too much was happening at one time. And that's when the intrusive thoughts really started picking up. And at first it would be just like something random, like I'm riding down the highway and I kind of like zone out for a moment, and I'm like driving over a bridge. What if I just, you know, went over the side of the bridge? And I'd have to be like, stop myself, like, what the hell was that? Because I don't actually want to do that. But the thought just, and as quickly as it came, it was gone. And I was like, that's weird. That's suspicious. But I just went on about my business because I was like, if I think about it too hard, I'm not going to be okay. So I'm just not going to think about it. But those thoughts became more frequent, and it was always like something like that. But then having anxiety, I always also was like, so and so hates you. This person can't stand you. They're always in your face and they're talking to you and they're being nice. They don't like you. And I always would be questioning, like, and I would never make it obvious to whatever person I was thinking that about, that I thought they didn't like me. But I thought that about a lot of people. It's like, these people don't love you. These people don't care about you. These people don't really have your back. And I'd be like, I really need you to stop telling me that. Because I already feel lonely. I'm already exhausted. I'm already not okay. So that's like making it worse. But I mean, it would just be like random things like that, like things like me not being worthy of anything, of like love, money, rest, care, and then like nasty thoughts about other people, like things that I would not ever think about somebody else. And I kind of scared myself a little bit because I was like, started to question if I actually felt that way, which I knew that I didn't in the back of my mind. But as frequently as it was happening, I was like, I'm really not too sure if this is actually who I am now, or if this is just like, I don't know what's happening. And I really didn't know too much about intrusive thoughts. So I just kind of was like, I'm losing it. Like I'm losing my mind right now. And it wasn't until because that was around the time that I started becoming really active on Twitter, which is the app that I stay on the most. I don't know what it is about Twitter. I live there basically. Anyway, I started becoming more active on Twitter, and I started following a lot of people that were talking about like, just political things, mental health things, just things that I was like, I could learn more about this. This person seems like they know what they're talking about. And I started seeing a lot more of like people talking about what they were going through with their mental health, what type of symptoms they were having. And I started learning more about intrusive thoughts and people describing what it was, what it felt like to them, what kind of thoughts they were having. And I was like, me too. Like the Spider-Man meme, me too. And it was very helpful because it didn't make the intrusive thoughts go away, but excuse me, it helped me understand myself better. And it made me not feel so alone and so isolated, because that was something that I didn't think that I could talk to anybody about. I was very terrified to say anything to anyone because I was like, somebody is either going to think that I'm a terrible person or they're going to try to hospitalize me. And in my mind, there was no in between. Like, in my mind, there was no understanding. It was just terrible person, hospital. And those were the only options. And I was like, don't want either of those. So I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. So here we are now in 2021. It's been a few years since then. And I will say I do still have some intrusive thoughts. Most of them now are about, the like drive over the bridge, excuse me, type of thing. My goodness, I have hiccups again. I had hiccups in another video earlier. But I want to kind of talk about some of the things that have been helping me. Um, because like I said, I mean, I didn't know what it was. I was afraid. I didn't know what I was dealing with. But now that I know what it is, and now that I'm kind of used to it, I can stop myself more quickly and kind of correct the thought. So if that kind of thing happens, I'm like, nope, nope, I don't feel that way. Nope, I don't want to do that thing. I know that this is not how I actually feel. I know that this is just my anxiety talking. I know that sometimes, a lot of times, it's just my depression talking. I don't actually feel that way. And if it's the kind of thing where it's like a self-image issue, um, and I mentioned this in the last Healing Your Inner Child video, it's the kind of thing where I'll have to like stop myself and be like, no, you're beautiful. No, da 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 da, whatever. Just like stop myself and just kind of like make myself slow down and say, hey, that's not how we feel. Um, and then I also have just started talking to people, um, being honest about where I am and how I feel and the kinds of things that are going on, because I've realized that a lot more people actually understand than what I thought. And people actually care about me. And so, I just have to try my best not to let myself stay in that place if those thoughts come up. But I will say it's still very difficult, and I still do not have the best coping mechanisms. And so, I think it's just one of those things where it's like a day by day, step by step type of thing, especially with not being on any type of like anti-anxiety or antidepressant medication, and not having a therapist, because those are some tools that are very useful. I'm kind of like doing the best that I can by myself, and kind of with the help of others, but mostly by myself. So, that's gonna wrap up today's video. It's a little shorter. I'm looking at the timer over here, and we're at like 13 minutes. Kind of surprised it was that short. But I hope that this was at least a little bit helpful for somebody. And I want you guys to leave in the comments if you deal with intrusive thoughts, or if you have dealt with intrusive thoughts. What are some ways that you cope or deal with those thoughts? What are some of the things that you tell yourself to correct those thoughts? Because I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I still kind of need a little bit of help. So maybe we can help each other. Okay? Don't forget to leave a comment down below. Subscribe if you like my content. Go watch my other videos. I'm gonna link the first anxiety series video on this video for you guys. And I hope you have a great day. Bye.